Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, who has passed away, aged 99. Mac, are you on the line?
Yeah.
How you doing, mate? Where were you when you heard the news today?
I was actually on my way to the hospital, and I heard it on radio early hours in the morning. Like, I think it was about, they announced it on radio about 10 o'clock. 10.
Yeah, the news came in the morning, and it's not unexpected. I thought we'd just have a little look at who he was and some of the things he said. I know he said outrageous things in the past. We've got one of them coming up on the screen now when he talked about reincarnation. I'm not sure if it's something he believed in. In the event that I am reincarnated, I would like to return as a deadly illness in order to contribute something to solve overpopulation. Now, obviously, he's said a lot of things over the years, but because of the timing and because of what's going on at the moment, that's obviously stood out. He also made many gaffes and racist comments, but we mustn't speak ill of the dead. Isn't that right?
Yep, I agree. But I do know what he does have another title as well. I think he was royal in Greece as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, so that's interesting. He's from the House of Glucksburg, who I think are a Dano-German branch of the House of Oldenburg. I've got it here in front of me. And he was born in Corfu, Greek island. Of course, he was baptized into the Greek Orthodox Church. So he's Greek in the sense that he was born there, and he did absorb a bit of the culture. And he said later in life that he could speak some Greek, but because he left at a very young age, he kind of forgot it. But really, his ancestry is this Germanic, Danish family.
Record Turkish,
but
isn't it?
It's interesting that they found their way to Greece and became the ruling elite over there.
It says his Prince Andrew, which I believe might be his dad, was accused of treason and was banished, and then that's when he took, I think, young Philip, and they exiled. But right now, the king of Greece is apparently in the UK. He's living. He's got diplomatic. What do you call it? Diplomatic
immunity.
Okay,
because there was a coup in Greece. I think the royals must have fled Greece because in 1967, I think it was, there was a coup in Greece, so that it became a republic, and they did away with the royal family. But there were Danish and German royals ruling Greece as well. And it's interesting that, of course, the British monarch cannot marry a Catholic, would be forbidden, and they can no longer intermarry with the Catholic monarchies of Europe like the Spanish. But because the Greeks are Greek Orthodox, I guess it's fine. So you get a little bit of intermingling between the northwestern Protestant monarchies and the monarchy of Greece, which is no more. But you know all about monarchies that have to flee, don't you?
Well, yeah, I do appreciate them. Well, I like the whole pompous extra. Like I mean, looking back, because our Shah, he threw the most. It was 400 something million at the time, and
this is the Shah of Iran, right?
Exactly. Sorry,
who also fled around a similar time, a little bit later.
Yeah. So again, I like the whole. I mean, the fact that the Iranians said, well, because he threw a lavish party in the middle of the desert, costing him 400 million something, and but there was no Iranians invited to it. It was only strictly head of states and other royal families of other countries and so forth. But there was no Iranian people there, so Iranians were a bit angry over that. I think that's what happened, and that's what pushed him away. But if he was anything like his dad, I'm sure it would have been a different story.
Queen's uncle was Mountbatten. This is from Omar. So
Yeah,
how is it
that's
a
it,
Greek
Mountbatten.
guy, Prince Philip's uncle, was also Greek? They're all intermarried. I'm sure that
Yeah,
he
they
was the
are.
Queen's cousin, and
Yeah, they are.
Philip
Yeah.
first began chatting to Liz when she was 13 years old, and he
Years
was
old.
17.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have allowed it these days, but it was back then. Omar, get on the screen, mate. Click the link and come and chat to us. I know it's very late in the night, but we want to discuss this with you. I've got another video to show you some of the greatest moments from good old Prince Philip. Let's have a look.
You've not seen the world's most experienced pluck on David. I mean, polo is taking place at quite a high speed, and it's rather athletic. There comes a time in your life when you don't want to be quite so athletic anymore, I can tell you.
But your son, of course, Prince Charles,
But
plays
he's still
polo.
young
Is he any
and
good?
vigorous. He's younger than I am, funny enough. He may not look it.
Wow.
In May, while visiting the new Welsh Assembly, he met a group from the British Deaf Association standing by a Caribbean band. "Deaf, if you're near there, no wonder you're deaf," he reportedly said. In China in the 80s, he famously described Beijing as ghastly and told British students they would all be slitty-eyed if they stayed there much longer. And 4 years ago, he asked a Scottish driving instructor, how do you keep the natives off the booze long enough to pass the test? Light-hearted or not, from a different generation or not, the Duke's remark has once again underlined the immense influence the royal family still has and the amount of attention that's paid to every comment its members make in public.
For centuries, perhaps millennia, villagers had believed in an ancient story about the son of a mountain spirit venturing across the seas to look for a powerful woman to marry. Somehow the legend gradually became associated with Prince Philip. Their beliefs were bolstered in 1974 when the Queen and Prince Philip made an official visit to the New Hebrides. Here was their ancestral spirit come back to show off his bride.
Wow, yes. So he was worshipped in a certain place in the South Pacific. I think they probably loved him more than the British public did. I don't think Philip was ever taken to heart by the British public the way that some other royals are. And is that because he was born abroad? Do you think he was always kind of regarded
Because of the
as a
heritage.
foreigner? Yeah, and
Yeah.
people wanted to distance themselves from him. I think he was often referred to as being Greek, even though he'd lived here, most of his life, almost 99% of his life. But there is that tendency to want to distance yourself from the buffoon that is making you look bad on TV. But then again, the whole royal family are Germanic in origin. They're not really English, are they? The Queen of England is not actually English. Sorry to say that.
You're right. You're right. I'm
and
aware of that. They say that she, I think through the Spanish bloodline and royal marriages, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, there are intermingling of European monarchies as well. So yeah, you're right.
Of course, and that intermingling with the Spanish monarchy would have been prior to the Reformation, back when England was even a Catholic country. And through that lineage back to Spain, the Queen, of course, is related to the Muslim rulers of Spain. Spain was Muslim for several centuries. And through those kings, she is, of course, a descendant of the Prophet Muhammad. She is a Sayyid and is therefore related to the King of Morocco, the King of Jordan, and even some of the rulers, I think, in Iran consider themselves to be Sayyid, don't they? Or of the Ahlul Bayt.
Yeah, she's from one of the bloodline of the son of Ali. Well, the grandson of Ali.
The
Yeah.
bloodlines. That's a good. That's a good way of describing it. Right on
Well,
cue. We've got
yeah.
Omar in the house. Hello, Omar.
Hello.
How
Hi,
do you
Omar.
feel that on the day that Prince Philip has been cut down in his prime?
Well, I'm very sad that
Omar's lost for words. We can't hear you very well, Omar. I don't know if it's your microphone. I don't know if it's your connection, but
can you hear me?
we can hear you now. Yeah, we've got the picture of the Kaaba on the screen there because, of course, the Queen is
Yeah.
descended from the Prophet of Islam. You can address that conspiracy theory if you want. I don't think it is a conspiracy theory, is it?
Well, I went to, and I remember vividly, on once, and the man came out, and he was a Muslim man, and he told me that he was the descendant of the Prophet of Islam. And when I spoke to him further, a bit more, and I realized that he was part-time taxi driver.
Oh, wow. So it doesn't guarantee you a high place in society then?
He said he was a saint. Speed means living saint. And I can remember
Okay.
thinking, okay, so
you'd be humble. You would be humble, wouldn't you? If you try and live modestly and humble, you wouldn't want the lavish lifestyle. You try and help. A taxi driver probably helps people get to places. So
yeah, I'm sure a taxi driver helps drunks from one pub to another pub. Something is vehemently and fervently against.
Not necessarily. It could be from a meeting to another meeting. Why do you have to emphasize on the negative? I'm just saying it's a good. It's not a bad job to have, but at the same time,
we've got another guest that may join us. Irish Pete, if you would like to join, just give me a thumbs up and I'll bring you in. Oh no, he's gone. We had someone who might have joined there. Anyone who's watching who wants to join the chat, you're welcome. Just click the link in description and we'll get you on. You can bring voice only if you want. We're doing more of a radio show tonight than a bit of a performance. We've got Give Peace a Chance. He's in there. If you want to come on, you're welcome as well to give your 2 pence worth on this. We're reflecting on the death of Prince Philip, who's passed away.
By the way, do you know DMX passed away as well?
Yes, and for some people, I'm aware that will be the more important story. We can always talk about what about. We can go there if you want. Mac, was DMX?
No, it's a weird coincidence.
Favorites?
It's a weird coincidence that
is it though? It'd be more coincidence if there were no coincidences. Everyone's got to die someday.
You do say that. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
There are only. I've seen a few bits of number crunching that he was 99 and he died on the whatever the date is, and if you times it by a certain number, you get you know what. We can go a little bit too far down that road sometimes.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But unless you've got a conspiracy theory for me.
Can I say regarding DMX, I was just watching one of his interviews, and he said when he was 14 years old, his mentor, who was probably 30, he said, gave him some weed and it was laced with crack. And crack, that's when he got hooked on it. And so, I mean, I don't even know what crack is. I don't know.
Well, you don't want to find out. I've got some quotes coming in.
Yeah.
Give Peace a Chance is reminding us of the time that good old Prince Philip said, "Just take the effing picture." He told a photographer during the Battle of Britain event, and he said, "You look like you're ready for bed," to the president of Nigeria in 2003, who was dressed in traditional robes. Yeah, he only said what everyone was thinking, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a good sense of humour. Don't you think? Even
a bit racist, though, isn't it? To mock.
Yeah.
But also you have
traditional dress.
Why haven't we heard anything?
Correct. at those times, I'm just saying, if people weren't politically correct. He's from an era and generation where then
we haven't heard anything from Diana. Diana said that a few things about him which weren't too kind, that she may die in a car crash, and so many other things. I hope he was vindicated from
coincidence
things. But
we should hear a speech from Her Majesty the Queen. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a special. Well, it's a not a special occasion, but it's a sad occasion, and she usually has a talk also. No.
I don't know. Maybe it's a bit raw, Mac. If the day you lose your partner, you probably don't want to address the crowd. Maybe I could be wrong. Give Peace is saying you could do with losing a little bit of weight. He told a 13-year-old Andrew Adams after hearing he wanted to become an astronaut while visiting the Science Museum in 2001. Gosh, I don't think I've been.
That sounds like good sound advice he gave. He gave some good advice there.
Yeah, well, not you don't want to give a child a.
What Peace? Give Peace a chance.
While we've got the
Can't
picture on the screen, Omar, and we were mentioning the fact, if it is indeed a fact, that the Queen is descended from the Prophet of Islam. Another monarch descended from that same prophet, from the Hashemite family, who probably has a bit more of an immediate link to the prophet, is King of Jordan. Jordan's King Abdullah. We're going to try and get a picture up for you. He's in a spot of bother at the moment. One of his brothers tried to overthrow him, and it's just a little reminder that the balance of power in these Middle Eastern countries, where usually some kind of Western power has installed a puppet, it hangs in the balance. Sorry, Omar, I don't know if we lost you there, but I'm here. There's the picture on the screen. Jordan's King Abdullah describes shock and pain over alleged coup plot. Yeah, I think one of his brothers tried to oust him.
Well, I don't know.
That's very harsh. I guess the Saudi Arabia is the same sort of thing, no? If you look at the
Saudi have had a few incidents like that over the years.
It's a Game of Thrones. It looks like
you think that these people would have some sort of responsibility and feel it.
Yeah, well, so the king you can see on the screen, he's actually.
These people are starving to death. It makes no sense to me.
So he's half English, this king. King Abdullah. Really? His mother's English, and he was educated in the UK. So he's very British in some ways. Maybe he's more British than Prince Philip. I don't know if that would be fair comment. But he's ruling a country in the Middle East.
English mother, you said, right?
Yeah, English mother and Jordanian father.
Yeah, that would make him at least half English.
At least half English, which is more than we can say for Prince Philip, who was not even born in England. But that's not to be held against him. I'm just pointing out these interesting facts. And of course, next door in Syria, you've got President Bashar al-Assad. Wasn't he educated in the UK at some point? So it seems like the British are still running the things in the Middle East, aren't they? Whether they're a king or a president, they're running the show. And it's the same, possibly, if he's related to the Queen through the Prophet Muhammad. Is this the bloodlines that we are talking about? Are there certain families that rule the world?
Isn't it 13 or 12 bloodlines?
I wouldn't want to put a number on it.
Okay, it's X bloodline or family.
Yeah.
Bloodline. But
I mean, the Hashemite kingdom. This was created just over 100 years ago. We're talking Sykes-Picot, and they put one king in Baghdad in Iraq, one king in Jordan, and they just carved the place up like cake, as you know. And you've only got to look at the map of Jordan. What do they call it? Churchill's hiccup. I don't know. Is it Churchill? The square bit on the map of Jordan was when the king said, "Look, I need a port. I need to have access to the sea." And they said, "Okay, then there you go."
What about a little bit south to Jordan? I think is it south or north, where obviously the Holy Land. But I was just thinking, well, it's difficult when I want to speak about that because I have to.
It's all right, Mac. I mean, Jordan
very likely.
It's a buffer state for the Holy Land. We can put it that way, and it's still. I heard it referred to recently as the Palestinian state, and 70% of people that live there are of a Palestinian background, essentially because their parents or grandparents had to flee the Holy Land, and that's where they are now. And some people are very happy about that. But it's a strange place, Jordan, having been there. It's very kind of vacuous, and you feel as beautiful as it is, as amazing as the people are. There's a sense that they're not really from there. And the king, he doesn't look or sound much like them because he's had this foreign upbringing and foreign accent, apparently.
You went to Jordan, right?
Yeah, I've been to Jordan a few times.
Is that where John the Baptist was baptizing people, right?
In the River Jordan, that's right. Yeah, and I met
Jordan, right?
One of the first taxis I jumped into in Jordan. It was a Christian taxi driver who he usually specializes in taking Christian pilgrims from the airport to the River Jordan to be baptized. In the River Jordan. Yeah.
Did you get baptized?
No.
I would have.
Any more questions?
It's amazing that you've been. So what can I just? Sorry, I do appreciate that you've been to Syria and you've been to Jordan. So are they similar, or would you say that? Because I've actually been to Syria myself. So I've never been to So what's Jordan like?
Okay, so landscape-wise, similar, and perhaps culturally or partly culturally, there's a lot more cultures and ethno-linguistic groups in Syria. Not to say there aren't diverse populations in Jordan as well, but as you get further north, I think in Syria there's more influences. There would be more Druze. People, more Shia Muslims, more Alawite Muslims. Jordan is more homogenous in that sense, majority Sunni Arab Muslim with some Christian population as well. But the stark contrast would be Jordan is a constitutional monarchy and Syria is an Arab republic, so very different in that sense, and a different kind of nationalism. And the Jordanians being closer to the desert might seem more. They're not. They're not. Yeah, more Arab-like. For want of a better expression, you're getting closer to the heart of the Arab world, whereas Syria is much more on the Mediterranean, more recent influence of Greek and Roman Empire, although there is Roman Empire ruins in Jordan as well, I believe, in Jarish. So Petra is the amazing rock formations in Jordan.
That's where the Indiana Jones was, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. I was. You probably got me off balance there with the Petra. Yeah, because I would love to go because it was carved out of a cave, right?
That's right, and you'll get the meaning from the Greek. So Petra means what? Do you know?
You know what? I actually
Peter, the
Go on,
follower
go on.
of Jesus, Jesus described Peter as the rock that I will build my church upon. So Peter
Right.
is rock. So Petra is rock in Greek.
Right.
Mind
Okay, I
blown.
didn't.
I know.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I like that. I actually learned. The thing is, I can't believe that I didn't look into that. I should have looked into what Petra was. I'm actually interested in the etymology as well, as you know.
Yeah, no, we're big on etymology in here, and yeah, Petra is well worth a look. You can meet the Bedouin people that live in there, and they'll just look after you and probably give you a barbecue, which is
I've heard
absolutely
that
lovely.
there's little other caves that people sleep across the actual Petra. Is that true, or am I false in thinking?
There might be. I'm not sure, but there's a lot of Bedouins that live in there, and you can just pitch up, and they'll look after
That's
you.
amazing. So you've been to Petra, you've been to Jordan, you've been to Syria. Any interesting, fascinating places you've been?
Yeah, this is all what they call Balad al-Sham, or Greater Syria,
Yeah.
and there's a commonality, but it's not monoculture. There's many different cultures that all live there. Circassians, these people who originate from the Caucasus that were brought there as soldiers by the Ottomans, who are very sort of blonde and blue-eyed, and you've got the Bedouins. The etymology of Bedouins, I think it's from bid'at, as in beginning, as in people that are starting from scratch. That's what that means.
Okay.
And you've got Druze, you've got Alawites, and I probably couldn't count them all. And there's probably
sorry,
different.
going back to the King of Jordan, and obviously the River of Jordan. But yeah, you do know, as Muslims, we do believe in Yahya as well. We believe that the baptism is, we call it ghusl, or when you go to the shower, you cleanse yourself the same way.
That's right.
So,
I mean, baptism literally in Greek, I think, is being submerged in water. That's all it really means. The king is
full name. King Abdullah. What's his full name? Do you know?
No, I don't. King Abdullah Hussein, I think they're Hussein, and they're from the Hashemite kingdom. It's the so they're Hashem. They're from Bani Hashem.
Is there? Oh wow. Is there also from the Holy Land, Hashemites? Yeah, Hashemites from the Holy Land too, right?
Yeah, the Hashem, the family of Hashem, I believe, relates back to the Prophet, and this is why we got it on the screen, because distantly, the King of Jordan will be related to the Queen of England, who is a distant relative of the Prophet, and as her husband was also her cousin, perhaps he was as well. But look, Mac, we're going to wrap it up tonight.
Sure.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Omar. And rest in peace, Prince Philip, aka Duke of Edinburgh. Say what you like about the guy. A family have lost their grandfather. Thank you for tuning in. Give Peace enjoyed it. No, nice one. Don't forget to subscribe and share it around. We'll do it all again soon. We were here. We are gone. Later.